I gotta tell you, this much stupidity makes my head hurt. Doesn't really matter what the issue is. It seems that on most issues, most people have no idea what they're talking about. Especially, of course, the MAGA loons on the right. And the chief loon himself, our corrupt criminal insurrectionist president. Now, I want to talk about one example here, and this has to do with deportations. Because one of the things that these MAGA nuts say in defense of Donald Trump kidnapping people and renditioning them to third-party states to be placed in concentration camps. Of course they're going to defend that because it's a cult and that's what they do. They defend anything Donald Trump says or does. But they don't know how anything works or how it's supposed to work. They don't know anything about the Constitution, although they pretend to be great champions of the Constitution. And what's great about not knowing anything and having no integrity whatsoever, as is the case with these MAGA loons, is that there's nothing constraining you from lying to whatever degree necessary to defend your orange cult leader. And so it's no problem for them to just lie about everything. Anyway, I want to play a clip of Trump. It's a brief clip, but it sets up what I want to talk about here. So let me play this. Oh, I didn't get this set up correctly. I suck. Okay. Here we go. No, that didn't work. Still not working. Oh yeah, that's muted.
You have thousands of people.
Let me try this again. Shut up. Okay. Now this should work. Listen to this jerk off.
And I hope we get cooperation from the courts because, we have thousands of people that are ready to go out. And you can't have a trial for all of these people.
Okay, so that's what I want to deal with. This idea that you can't have a trial. This is one of the ways in which they defend him. They just repeat what he says. And the thing with Donald Trump, when he says stupid shit like this, and I'll deal with it and explain why this is so stupid. I don't know if what he's saying here is technically a lie, because I don't know that he knows what he's saying is not true. And with Trump, I don't know if it's a chicken and the egg thing, because there's this symbiotic sort of relationship between him and Fox News. And the flow of information goes both ways. So you might think that Fox News takes their orders from Trump, or they just repeat whatever Trump says. Well, that's certainly true. But it also goes in the other direction, too. Because remember, Donald Trump does nothing but seek out audiences at Mar-a-Lago for his slavish members of his cult to kiss his ass. He does that. He plays golf. He eats McDonald's, and he binge watches Fox News. That's pretty much all he does. And occasionally he waddles into the Oval Office to sign a series of executive orders that Russ Vought and Stephen Miller and these other people have written and then just place in front of him, and they explain to him what it is he's going to sign because he has no friggin' clue, and then he signs it. That's about all he does with his time. And so he watches Fox News, and he listens to what is said there, and he repeats what he hears on Fox News. So it goes both ways. Fox News repeats Trump, and Trump repeats Fox News. And this is one of the stupid things that people like Jesse Waters and other morons over there say, that, we can't have due process for these people because that would mean a trial. And I've heard them say, these trials cost millions of dollars and they take months, and you can't possibly deport all of these people going through a process like that, giving each of these people trials. And this is what Donald Trump is saying. So I don't know if he came up with this himself or if he heard it on Fox News. But this is absolutely false because that's not what happens in deportation cases. These are not jury trials. They're not being charged with a crime. They are being accused of being here illegally and then deported. And so the hearing that is supposed to take place under law to determine whether or not they can be removed from the country it's not a jury trial. It doesn't even take place in an Article 3 court, which means these courts aren't even really courts. They're not even part of the judicial branch. They are administrative law judges within the executive branch. These are administrative hearings. They're not trials because they're not being charged with a crime. And so these hearings are just for the limited purpose of determining whether or not they are here legally or illegally. That's it. And if the immigration judge determines that they are here illegally, then they can be removed. It is a very quick process. It doesn't take months. It doesn't cost millions of dollars. So this guy has no idea what he's talking about. Or he probably doesn't. Maybe he does know better and he's just lying. But that's the truth. These aren't jury trials. But people on both sides, I think, don't understand this to a large degree, especially on the right. And of course, the people on the right don't care what the truth is. It means nothing to them. But I saw this post on Twitter this morning, and that's where I got this video from. But I want to return to it because this person, this account here, who is it's no fan of Donald Trump. Let me move this down here. This person posts this video and says, quotes what Trump says, you can't have a trial for all these people. And then this person writes, it's in the Constitution that everyone in America has the right to a trial. Well, that's that's true if they're accused of a crime, but as it relates to immigration, removal cases, deportation cases, that's not true. As I said, you don't have a right to a trial. You have a right to a hearing. Remember, it's called due process. And the question is, for each individual issue, what process is due under our laws and under our Constitution? And given what the issue may be, the process that is due might not necessarily be a full-blown jury trial. And it's not in the case of these removal cases. It's just a hearing before an administrative law judge, which, as I said, actually reports to Donald Trump. It's part of these immigration law judges are part of the executive branch, which makes it all the more ridiculous when you understand that Trump would just go outside that process, because they could easily deport people who are here illegally, and they can do so very, very quickly. This has happened, under previous administrations. Obama deported a lot of people. Some people on the left who disagreed with his deportation policy referred to him derogatorily as the deporter in chief. And so you don't need a full-blown jury trial. But I want to go back to this post because there's some other things I want to deal with. Just in reading some of these comments, let me see here. Because I like to read these comments because it gives me an idea the misunderstandings that people have about these issues. So this Trump cultist wrote, every legal American. You left that part out. So this person is obviously referring to the comment where the guy says, it's in the Constitution that everyone in America has the right to a trial. And this mindless Trump cultist writes, every legal American. You left that part out. Well, first of all, genius, if they are not legally here, then they're not an American anyway. So legal American, every American is legal. So this guy's such an idiot. But the point is, he's wrong in what he's trying to say, too. He's saying that illegal aliens, people who are not here legally, are not entitled to a jury trial. That's not true at all. Depends what for, as I explained. Not for a deportation case, not for a removal case, he's not entitled to a jury. But if he's been charged with a crime, then he is entitled. That person is entitled, whether they're a legal citizen, a legal resident, or an illegal alien. They are entitled to a trial by jury before conviction. So there's just so much misunderstanding about this. Anyways, I think I don't want to go through any more of these comments because it's just a black hole of stupidity from which it is difficult to reemerge. Anyways, I wanted to make that important point so that everyone understands. Due process requires, if you want to remove someone from this country and deport them, due process requires a hearing. But the hearing required is a removal hearing in front of an immigration judge, an administrative law judge. These hearings are very quick. They don't take a long time. They're not full-blown jury trials. They don't take months, and they don't cost millions of dollars. So don't fall for any of that Trump cult propaganda. Anyway, thanks as always for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.